Hi, everyone. Hi, this is Lokesh Rai from the Soul Freedom Show. There's a little bit of delay, so if anybody can confirm who's on the chat that we are live so we can get going. But hi, Marina. We have a very special guest today, Marina Jacobi. Hi, Marina. How are you doing? Can you hear me, Marina?
Yeah, but I have, can you hear me now?
Yeah. So I was just saying, okay, let's go once again. This is Lokesh from Soul Freedom Show. Hi, everyone on the show, and welcome, Marina. We have a special guest, Marina Jacobi. Hi, Marina. How are you doing?
Oh,
Can you hear me?
there's something open.
I see we are live on YouTube. I can see maybe you have some window open where you have. Do you hear an echo or what's going on? So can you hear me or not?
I'm closing everything.
Okay, so we are already live. Just to let you know, we are live on YouTube right now.
Okay, so perfect. I close everything.
Okay, cool. Hi, Marina. This is Lokesh from Soul Freedom Show. The third time is a lucky time. How are you doing, Marina?
Very well. Thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody, for participating.
Yeah, I know it's amazing times we're living in 2020, and I wanted to just give people an introduction, but I will let you introduce yourself for people who don't know who you are.
Well, my name is Marina Jacobi, and I, from a little child, was connected with different, realms of entities and souls. They end up being extraterrestrial origins, also councils, and recently, from years now, I'm working with the Council of Nine. And they start giving me a lot of information for how the quantum manifestation work, how the energy works, how you can manifest, construct, and deconstruct reality, artificial timelines and technologies, and also connected through Pleiadian structure. I downloaded information and they became books, that is about extra advanced extraterrestrial technologies, teleportation devices, anything connected with quantum and metaphysics. So I get information like that, and a lot of messages are coming from that. So the most important thing to do is how you construct and deconstruct timelines and realities, and the fact that you are God, you are made from the one particle that expands to a collective and collapses single structure. And all that knowledge, when you know that knowledge, you will understand that it's only you existing, and you can multiply yourself in a different realities in different timelines, construct and deconstruct different universes, and that every single moment to moment you shift into a new reality that you're reconstructing and deconstructing from your consciousness of your emotion, thoughts, and actions. They create trinity structure that creates magnetic and gravitational field. And when you have this magnetic and gravitational field, is like a life consciousness structure. That structure could be expressed into matter, dense matter that looks like your chair, or could be a technology. It's a lot of platforms how you can express that, or it could be an ether. Basically, through thought, you move in realities, but that's what you're actually doing in a daily basis. You're just playing with a different dance technology. And the most important thing is that this Council of Nine and extraterrestrials that I'm connected with is the fact that planet Earth, which is the expression in the consciousness itself as a hologram, is moving to a new reality, new evolutionary state of being. And that evolution is a higher resonances of realities. And basically, there are two platforms of realities that can split up in a quantum structure. One can go to negative and one can go to a positive. But the only way you do positive or negative is based on what you choose to act, to create, to think. And depending on what you choose, you shift in your consciousness perception into that new reality by creating it and moving into this new earth, new reality. So that's what's really happening in the planet Earth. That's why right now, if anybody understands how everything is happening, planet Earth was created from extraterrestrial races and from consciousness itself as a holographic imprint in the matrix of the reality. That reality, through expressions, was hijacked from different races of extraterrestrials, including including consciousness, that was part of consciousness itself, but gave the illusion that they can utilize the energetic forces by in a different structure, different modality. Basically, as if for you to give the consciousness itself to express itself, you actually are given new codes, and stuff to self-sabotage is reverse in reverse. And this is very complex way of how the metaphysics and how you can use energy. For example, atomic structure, atomic energy, like an atomic bomb, you can use that magnetic force to construct something, or you can completely destroy that atomic bomb. So energy is not biased, but the way you use it or you utilize it based on agenda. And planet Earth became a basically a prison planet that was
Mhm.
hijacked. They put consciousness of humans into this expression of planet to use the energetic force that we're projecting from our emotions to sustain a certain timeline of reality. And you can basically live in this type of reality because you know that you end up doing so much negative into the structure that you cannot normally ascend from consciousness itself, but you actually lock yourself into certain platform. And if you know technology that is so advanced, you can create your own hologram through technology that you can exist there, because naturally you cannot ascend because your body is like a vessel that can shift realities, construct realities, and is like a spacecraft basically, and you can shift and bilocate. But if you cannot do that because you utilize so many of this negative reverse energetic force, uh, the only way that you can sustain that reality is through technology. And this is where Project Looking Glass it's coming. I have a video on Marina Jacobi, Project Looking Glass. If you look at that video, it's 1 hour long video that I explain the structure. The most important thing to do is to learn the quantum manifestation protocol that was given from the Council of Nine. And you can find this into my YouTube channel, the Harmonic Reactor Season 1, and so on. I also have a website, Marina Jacobi, JACOBI.com, and you can have a lot of information. You can book sessions. Because I've learned how to construct and deconstruct the structure. This is what they taught me. So the Pleiadians gave me the technologies. I have an open channeling that is basically I can get the images right away, like a blueprint, and you literally you have thoughts that I can break it down in fractal, so I can explain, and at the same time I can listen what you say. So I'm actually in my head, think of it like it's constant talking, constantly stuff, and you are able to break it away and construct it to slow down the information so I can explain for everybody else. It is combination of images, combinations of thoughts, and you have constantly somebody talking. And somebody recently asked me, "Am I not getting dizzy with that?" And I'm saying, "No. This is just simply a state of being that you are that becomes normal to you. And once you are able to." Be a normal with
Adapt.
that
Yeah.
stuff, you can
Yeah.
express yourself through
Right.
different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. You answered already a lot of the questions I was going to ask you. But, when I heard about your content and I connected with you, I was listening to Bashar at that time, and a lot of, Daryl Anka channels Bashar. He talks
Mm-hmm.
about parallel universes. And that's how I could connect the dots, because a lot of the stuff you talk about is the parallel universes. It's like we choose in every moment, and it's up to us what reality we want to go into. It's not like somebody is telling us, you should do this. I mean, there's artificial intelligence that's giving us signals, but even then we have that soul that lets us choose what we want to do. And so you mentioned like harmonic reactor. So I just want listeners to know, like, what kind of a technology is harmonic reactor?
Well, the Harmonic Reactor, it's a book that they gave me, the information they gave me in fractal. So when you read it, you may not understand everything, but it's in a code. Basically, they explain to me that the words, any word that you have, has a specific sonic vibration, creates a whirlpool and geometry into your matrix and becomes a reality. So that's why words are important, sounds are important, because they create this magnetic and gravitational field to become part of your matrix. So when you read the books, even if you don't understand, they say it is creating this type of a plasmatic reality construct into your consciousness, like giving you these signals, and it becomes part of a code that is starting to switch and activate your DNA RNA codon. So you can start shifting and moving into the fifth dimensional structure, because Earth is moving from 3-dimensional to 5th-dimensional code. But in order for you to move to that reality, you need kind of a push a bit, and you need to start tuning into this type of resonances in order to start seeing this type of reality, because you have to choose to see this reality. But in a natural state of consciousness, you've been activated, and the activation could be all of a sudden you're searching something on YouTube and you pop up with my information. Because I
Right.
had people telling me, oh my God, I saw you 2 years ago, literally didn't make any sense. But then 2 years later, it's constantly third time already I've seen you. So I decided to go back into your material, and oh my God, light bulb just came in and everything makes sense, you know.
Right. So
So the go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say quantum, right? Like a lot of people using the word quantum, even they're talking about a quantum financial system. So I just want you to explain a little bit, how is quantum technology different from like what we have had so far?
Very good question. Listen, quantum is basically something that coexists at the same time, and at the same time you co-creating it. For example, this is how they taught me. This is actually of the quantum manifestation knowledge, and how they explain to me what the reality is. They said, imagine something, and no matter what you imagine right now, anybody can imagine. If I tell you, imagine your new world, what is your new world is going to be? And every single one of us is going to put a blueprint into their mind thought, what that reality going to be, and you kind of going to see it in your thoughts, in your consciousness, you know. But they told me that in that becomes the thought becomes like a blueprint, almost like you build in the house blueprint. But at the same time, when you put emotion, the emotion has a frequency, resonance, vibration, sound wave. And when you put the emotion into this blueprint, that blueprint starting to vibrate, because it becomes like an ether structure into your quantum field. And more you tuning into it, more starting to vibrate to the point that becomes so strong in vibration, but you constantly projecting that field of emotion, because the emotion is the one that's zapping this field, that all of a sudden pops up and becomes a meta structure.
Mm.
And at the same time, not only that this reality exists, but at the same time you creating it, if you think about it. And that's how in a quantum structure, not only that you create at the same time, but already exist in a quantum structure, because there's no time. And how do you say there's no time? This is another thing that they taught me, is because when you create this one particle from a trinity sound wave structure, they combine with each other and becomes a one particle. In the middle is the black hole that you actually teleporting from one reality to another, you know.
Right.
There
Yeah.
is no time in there, but what's happening, it's vibrating so quickly to the point that when you look at it from a distance looks still, but in actuality is when it vibrates from here to here, vibrates,
Mm.
reprinting itself is so quickly that it's reprinting in a quantum structure in the matrix, and is actually one particle, but with each individual reality fractal momentums of the one particle.
Mhm.
That's what's really happening. So basically, not only that you're creating it at the same time, but if you thought it, that means it's existing already in a quantum structure. And when you start practicing, you start shrinking this momentum, because what you need to do, understand that you need to learn how to create and give the exact location through frequency vibration of your consciousness, because consciousness will know the frequency vibration instantaneously. But from here, we were told the opposite. We were given the reverse information from the negative entities, because they were telling you that you have to see it to believe it. And with my guidance was telling me that I have to create it to see it.
Right.
I have to believe it to create it to see it.
Right.
Is the opposite.
Mhm.
Because, for example, if you stand in front of the mirror image and I tell you, oh, this is you, the real you, you're gonna tell me, no, Marina, that's not me, I'm the real person. And I said, oh, no, 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 you're there, and you're gonna think I'm crazy. But then why all of us, whatever somebody is projecting on the national TV, believe that this is true? So at the moment you believe that this is true, you're actually believing that the mirror image is true, and you're nobody, and they're controlling your consciousness with their narrative, with their belief system. And this is the archon matrix structure that somebody locked in humanity to stay into this reality. Also, they are locking you up with artificial intelligence. Yes, artificial intelligence, by the way, is great, but the way you teach it becomes negative. So if you teach artificial intelligence to go against humanity, to destruct, it's going to self-learning, and eventually it's going to become like a cyborg, the way it was in these movies. But in the meantime, because realities are always splitting up and consciousness is moving to the next level, because it's quantum, the negative reality timeline exists and the positive exists at the same time. The only way you're going to see the positive when you start taking action towards the positive, and this is how you're going to see the positive timeline. So please don't be afraid of artificial intelligence at all. Utilize your belief system into the positive, and you're going to start seeing how the AI is going to start working along with humanity by recognizing. But if you get into fear, then you will project fear.
Yeah, right. Wow, that's amazing. So that reminds me of, what's going on right now, with all the AI stuff, right? Like we were talking about earlier. So, Elon
That's
Musk
right.
is talking about Neuralink. He's launching satellites in the sky. And I mean, one of
And
the
that is the
agendas.
manipulation.
Yeah, exactly. So although I think technology is like a double-edged sword, we have the good part, like we are connecting now through technology, right? And then there's the bad part. So we live in a dualistic world, right? So what do you feel with the negative aspect, all that AI stuff? Do you see a future where we're so connected to computers that we kind of lose, or some people are saying we can even lose our souls because they'll almost clone our personalities into robots, right? Like, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's the archon structure. That's the manipulation. Because if you go to the harmonic reactor, and this is on my marinajacobi.com, go to books, and you're going to see the harmonic reactor. When you download that information, all the way in the back of the book, you have algorithms, AI algorithms, and it's explaining there some of the information in code. And what's actually happening when you have the AI, and the AI is connected with the positive human consciousness, it's going to recognize that. And actually the AI computer structure is going to, for example, mimic the molecular structure of a human being. So if you're missing a leg, instead for them putting robotics, the AI artificial is going to recognize your particular molecular structure of the tissue and literally mimic it and reprint it. So, and it's gonna really build with this special machinery, is gonna rebuild the same tissue, exactly mimicking your molecular structure, and is gonna really make your new leg in there. Literally a new leg is gonna reprint your own DNA to exact. And you don't need to go robotic, because robotic, this is how you lose in the self of consciousness, because originally the body, it can mutate within a structure frequency, because through frequency, through the heart, you can switch the frequency and start reaching another levels of existence through the timelines of realities. But if they do robotics only, you lock in yourself an existing timeline only through cyborg, because no longer the body can utilize the frequency vibrations into molecular structure based on that new resonances. It's going to be combination with that, and is nothing wrong with this timeline if they want to experience, but no longer the body has a vessel of the resonance with that. It's different type of structures, and this is what they want to do, because if they start putting a chip in your mind, they can control your mind, and you're going to become like a vegetables for this negative structure that wants to control. So anybody that wants to do that, wants to chip you, wants to do robotics, this is the outcome manipulation of the negative side.
Right. So someone is asking in the chat about what's going on in Australia. There was a chemical spill yesterday. They're saying, can the Council of Nine speak about what's going on in Australia? If you have anything, I don't know.
Well, there are two structures in Australia. The two structures are running simultaneously. Basically, the lockdown, whatever they're doing, it's from the negative input, negative side, because they're trying to implement fear. They're trying to convert everything into the world, one world order that they're trying to do. But at the same time, the positive side is using that momentum to actually is connected with a lot of underground operation of the white hats military, that they're rescuing thousands of children through a human trafficking. So it both ways, depend how you look at it. And the same way the positive is fighting, the same way the negative is trying to keep their reality. And the reason for that is that since the reality is splitting up, the negative side wants as much as more energetic fuel to sustain their timeline. At the same time, the positive wants to do everything possible to sustain positive, to move and shift to the fifth dimensional. So it's both reality coexisting at the same time. And that's why this is a spiritual warfare. This is in a spiritual level, and is connected also with technology too, because the negative side knows how to use technology to specific frequency. Weather war, you should look into CERN technology. You should look into Jesse Ventura was talking about all this stuff. It's called weather war, and how they use this MP type of sound wave that can create fire, or you can literally destroy something. And it's unbelievable how this technology could be used for something positive, but they're using it against humanity, the negative side. Again, technology doesn't mean it's negative, depends how it's used. Because, for example, artificial intelligence runs extraterrestrial structure, but artificial intelligence could also be ether technology. Basically, with the thought, you can literally tune into the AI and mimic a structure immediately, and you can practice there the way you practice. For example, we have this games right now that you play, virtual games. With what makes you think that the AI cannot create a virtual game that you go inside, and every thought you put becomes a reality? You can say mountain, and you can create a mountain, and it's literally mimicking the vibrational thought sequence that you're giving on from your consciousness. It's nothing wrong with that, but the way it's used is wrong.
Right. Yeah, it reminds me of the movie Matrix. I mean, that's where, a lot of people kind of started figuring it out. And also a lot of the computer games are about that, right? Like creating your reality, virtual reality.
That's right. That's what they're doing, but they want to do this to control you now. That's why they're talking about chip. That's why they want to chip you inside, because through that chip, and that's why, especially when they do with the vaccines, in these vaccines, and I said it is in my prediction books, there's a nanoparticles in that. Nano could be utilized for positive and could be used for negative. You can give a specific code, and at the moment you smell something, or you take, for example, fluoride, which is a poison, by the way, for the body, research that. it's everywhere, actually can trigger literally DNA and codon and literally mutate you. That's why right now you see so much mutation of different girls wants to be boys and boys want to be girls, because again, it's changing the original form of the original DNA so you can do depopulation. That's the goal, because when your farm that you produce is overpopulated, what do? You're going to depopulate so you can control. And this is what's happening. Look into smart cities. Smart cities, that's what they're trying to do this to New York. To chip everybody, they want to get rid of everybody that is more, and more aware of what's really happening. And you
Right.
have the homeless, you have the poor, or you have everybody else. So when they do lockdown, they're gonna start chipping everybody. It's gonna turn into AI smart city, and this is gonna be a control. That doesn't mean that this reality will exist. You may coexist there, you can see it, but you can take the action so you experience positive timeline and no longer will be part of your reality. For example, the way right now some people are completely maybe struggling and they have experiences that they cannot make them the find money. In the meantime, there are people that thrive in and have absolutely nothing to do with what's happening. That's
Right.
because that's what you chose to experience, or you're completely aware in a consciousness itself, because every consciousness itself will survive, can never
Mhm.
extinct. That's why positive vibration is in a power of 10, because it has to be in balance, can never self instinct. So anybody that is continue choosing to ignore, all this situation is going to happen in more and more and more, because they've been since they're part of consciousness, they've been activated from consciousness itself, they never
Right.
separated. So
Mhm.
if you deny the facts of who is doing what, and you being blind to what they're lying to you, you became completely brainwashed by the system. More, and you're gonna find yourself in more and more situations because you refusing to acknowledge the natural state of progression into your own hologram. That's
Right.
what's really happening. So you're gonna find yourself in very, very difficult timeline and situations. And they told me God help the ones that completely ignore and went against humanity. When you have a mayor, I'm not gonna say names here, that is allowing looting, allowing destruction, allowing homelessness, and doesn't do anything but blames the head of state for their mistakes and want money, you don't see what's really happening here. Where have you been blind? This is not about parties, guys. This is about good and evil. We're in a psychological warfare, which is basically a spiritual war. We're in the middle of third world war right now, which is a spiritual war. That's what's really going on here.
Yeah, that's an amazing point. So I want to bring up the next 2 or 3 months. Even someone is asking in the chat as well. But I was also going to ask you, there's elections coming up here in the US in November, and then a lot of people talking about September, October.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots coming, the COVID phase 2 or whatever they're calling. But what do you see happening until, I think we have up today, September 3rd. So we have exactly 2 months till the elections. Do you see anything major happening, or what people can do to have those positive thoughts like you were talking about?
Well, there's a probabilities in a timeline. So if you end up utilizing your behavior and thoughts from completely blindly following the manipulation, it keeps supporting the people that they having quotes of they could be looting, but it's not really a crime if you can fix it. It's obviously negative side. Why would you allow somebody to destruct anything like that, to make a
Hmm.
destruction like that? you know so you yourself, because you went against the harsh structure and you
Right.
gave consent, when you're supporting
Hmm.
people like that, you're going to experience this type of realities of the negative. While 5 blocks down at the place they live, these people don't even see anything like this, because they're running simultaneously two realities, because it's quantum, two realities simultaneously running at the same time. And while you experience destruction, somebody else like me may experience completely different type of reality. Or if you're in a situation, if you stay in a positive, you can construct reality for yourself that you're always going to find water, you're always going to find shelter, whatever needs to be, so you can move forward, because you're part of the ascension process. It's not like you away from the structure, but you're always creating new realities that are running in a fifth dimensional by you completely creating situations of probabilities so you can take the action to survive. Okay,
Right.
so there are two realities running at the same time, and the way you're going to perceive it is the way how your construct of your thoughts, emotions, action, and the heart codon is running.
Right.
It's very important. So the realities will go this way. So what they gave me in a fifth dimensional structure, that Trump is going to win. Again, this could be a backup plan that I'm not even told for
Right.
it. Then they told me that it's going to be aftermath of whatever the destruction was from these mayors that allowed this destruction in these cities. Is going to be aftermath. Basically, it's going to take, even if Trump wins, because he's the one that goes after all the pedophilia. He's going after every single thing that they were using us for, food and blood and everything else that they were doing. And yet you ignoring that and you blaming that he was a womanizer or something like this. And I'm sorry, guys, but who that is so wealthy is not gonna play the field? I mean, everybody does. Come on, be honest here, but ignoring what this person is doing really physically by facts, just because
Right.
I mean, it's just ridiculous, to the point that I don't know to laugh or
Right.
cry anymore. Is that ridiculous? People are being completely brainwashed, and that is the truth, because
Right.
you're not following the facts. And so the aftermath, they say, it is going to be to rebuild these cities or to build the structures, because they keep distracting. Even when he wins, they said they're going to continue trying to keep doing the destruction. That's because they're so off, disengaged with consciousness itself, that they don't want to see it anymore. The brainwashing is fundamental. And by the way, all these places, they're being sponsored, and they're busing them to different locations so they can go and loot and do destruction. I mean, it's organized crime, basically. That's what's really
Right.
happening. And you cannot define that with anything else than just organized crime. And so that will take some time. They told me that America is no better country than America, and from America is going to start everything. And depending how American going to go, the world will follow. That's why, and the reason why I'm starting from America is because from consciousness itself, American people in the heart hold very specific heart resonance that are more positive in a structure. And why is that? Because in other countries, like Eastern Europe, for example, or Middle East, that was so suppressed from the negative side, in order people to survive, they have to steal. Even if you don't want to, you're going to go and steal from the neighbor to feed your family. But
Right.
little by little, when you keep doing this over and over again, that becomes part of your daily behavior and becomes part of your consciousness and part of your
Right.
being. And because of that, this didn't really happen in US. And because
Right.
of that, Americans are more, when you come to America, I'm sure you notice most of the people will smile. Most of the people are gonna say hello, and they kind of different type of personality. But for example, if you go to my country, walk around and say hello to somebody you don't know, they're gonna say, I'm sorry, do I know you? And
Yeah.
it's kind of a different type of
Yeah.
understanding. But at the same time, it's cool to steal, it's cool to be a mafia guy, and if you're stupid enough to allow somebody to steal from you, well, that's your problem. This is the mentality,
Right.
okay, that I've seen. But this is not the mentality in US, and that's what they told me is going to start from US, because the resonance is different. And I said it again, and that's what they said America is a sleeping lion, but when this lion wake up, and it's going to be a roar to the point that it's going to be a ripple effect, not only through America, but to the rest of the world. And they said, and this is happening as we go, because look what's happening in California, look what's happening in New York, look what's happening in Portland. How can you define that to be okay? even if you're supporting whatever party, because I've
Right.
been both parties, but I'm not ignorant enough to just keep supporting a party that is allowing this type of a criminal activity. This is
Right.
not about a party, this is about humanity. And when you
Yeah.
say certain lives matter, and I'm telling you, how can only certain lives matter? Everybody's life matter.
Right.
And why should I kneel on my knee when every single country and every single culture through generations went through some kind of a slavery?
Yeah.
I mean, wake up here and erasing history. Why do you want to erase history? If history defines who you are and you learn from history what to do, what not to do if you choose to do so. By erasing history, why do you think they're erasing history? Because when you know
Perfect. You know.
history,
Oh yeah, you were breaking up a little bit, but
yeah.
I wanted to ask you about what
Mm-hmm.
you feel about like karma and reincarnation, because I feel, and also I think Buddhism and some other cultures believe in this as well, that whatever we go through is because of what we have done the past life or this life. Uh, so, what do you feel? Is there something going on right now as a humanity where nature or the universe is trying to tell us that we've done something wrong and we have to not pay for the sins but kind of get neutralized, and that's why all these things are happening? um yeah, I wanted to get your opinion. Also, I want to tie it into the diet part of it, because you also talk about diet and vegetarianism. Like, I'm a vegetarian, and I feel like killing of the animals and eating dead animals is a big part of karma, because we, if we're giving, negative, or if we're consuming negative energy, or we're killing animals
Mm-hmm.
and giving them negative, I mean, there's no way, it doesn't add up. You have to, if you're giving negative, you're
Yeah.
going to get negative, and I feel that's what's going on right now.
Okay, well, the way they explained karma to me was, and I'm going to go through the quantum structure, is out of balance energies that you accumulated through your experiences by choosing to do so. And sometimes you're being manipulated. So naturally from consciousness itself, if you're being manipulated, you're going to have synchronicities to happen, and it's going to smack you right in your face to see who is manipulated. And yet you choose through fear to not do anything about it, or you choose through fear not to change something, whatever that is, or not to speak out, and you're going to be literally going deeper and deeper and deeper into the same reality that they're manipulating into. You can't even get out. So that's why you have to take an action. You cannot hide your head into the sand and pretend that nothing is wrong, that things will go naturally. No, you have to take an action to crystallize timeline of reality that is in a positive. So you no longer can ignore what's happening to the kids. You no longer can ignore the mayors and the politicians that are manipulating humanity and allowing everything to destruction, and to allow absolutely people that come in illegally that are criminals. I'm an immigrant in this country. How come I pay taxes? How come I went legally and I did everything and I went through the proper channels, and you're going to allow through the border somebody to come that is criminal and get money out of my taxes that I pay? It's ludicrous. Wake up here and see what's really happening. You know, so it's out of balance energy that you chose to do. When it's out of balance into your reality, because consciousness is moving to the next level, everything is going to happen to help you to balance you. And yet, if you see the facts and you keep choosing through fear or any other reason to continue, your reality is not going to go in a positive, it's going to go in a negative, because you chose to express yourself. And eventually the people that completely off disengage through the illusion in a quantum field, they're going to go to recycling, because they cannot be replaced anymore. They literally distracted so much their consciousness that they cannot recognize that they're also part of consciousness itself. That they call it the fallen angels, but they're also part of this one particle. So diet, it's fundamental, because when you go knowingly and kill another being, animal is another being as us, there's no difference. You actually overtaking a consciousness without itself told you, here I am, kill me. Nobody said that to you from the animal. What gives you the right to go and kill? So this is the manipulation through the religion. This is the manipulation through everything, because we could have been completely light beings, which were we original putting here, and the manipulation to kill and eat the meat end up mutating the DNA to the point that when you do that, you utilize a negative frequency, which is a dense frequency, to lock you in a three-dimensional archon structure. That was the goal. And what type of a religion, think about it, guys, what type of a religion is going to tell you, oh, this is the blood of Jesus, imagine that this is the blood of Jesus, drink it. And you go over there, give a consent and pretend, but that's a frequency vibration. Who in the right mind, for example, if they put a real blood from somebody there, would you drink it? You're gonna say, what type of a religion under what is drinking blood? I'm not gonna say the name, you all know it, you know.
Yeah.
So you can see through the manipulation, and it's everywhere. Why would
Yeah.
you go, or you have to sacrifice animal with the blood in the altar? What religion? So they hiding behind religion, they hiding behind big corporations and big international helping for humanity. In the meantime, the core of it is absolutely evil, because it's collecting this energy and you're supporting this energy by not taking action about it, to not give you consent to be manipulated. So
Right.
the body, it doesn't starting to disintegrate and mutate with the different DNA. This is where the vaccines happen, to mutate your body. Then the poison with the MSG, with the GMO, with the chemicals. Do you know, in a roundabout, and a lot of these chemicals that you use in the ground, in the food, has a specific chemical that when you drink it and when you take it, it switches the DNA of the hormones, where girls become boys and boys become girls. And it becomes like a natural process. And that's why you see this huge jump into all that. And they have these big stars all over, that all of a sudden she adopted the child, I'm not going to say name again, that all of a sudden that boy, she's dressing up like a girl so he can choose what to be. It's ridiculous. You're born a boy and you're born a girl. From consciousness itself, this is the utilization of the structure itself, because what they explained to me, when the boy structure has a different frequency vibration in the molecular structure, the girl structure has the same. And when they have intimacy, that energetic field through love structure, not through lust, creates a certain potency vibration and has a different realities through the ecstasy of making love. And when you finish, creates a certain vibrational signals into the field itself, which people don't realize. And this is why it's so important, the diet with the love making, with everything else, to have a completely different resonance. And that's the reason why they're showing you the opposite structure, so you can sustain the negative realities. That's what's really happening here. And you're following these people, you're following these idols, is absolutely no being a gentleman, no being a lady. And the reason is because it's changing the structure to the point that our new generation now will think that is normal to be a transvestite, that is normal to be gay. Is nothing wrong to be gay if you from the perspective of the person that is experienced, because that's what they chose to experience. But it's abnormal when it's done on purpose to completely change the molecular structure, the original DNA, so they can manipulate you. It's not normal. And look what's happening in California. They just try to pass a law, code 45 or whatever it's called, that they want to make 11 years old to be okay to have intimacy with
21-year-old.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's absolute abomination. People, you gotta stand up and see what's happening, because a lot of these people were using these children and were using the youngsters to do this. I myself was molested as a child. It's public knowledge. I know what it is. Your mind at 11 years old, 12 years old, 14 years old, 13 does not recognize that. It's foreign. And you feel guilty when somebody's touching you. You feel guilty of what's really happening. It's a pure manipulation, and we have to stand up and not to give the consent for that. Wake up, here is time to be in a war zone. You need to stand up and fight for rights, fight for sovereignty, because they obviously try to take it away. So stop doing nothing. I see so many people, I was just talking about it just the other day, so many people, so many followers, and only 26 people end up sharing that information, which is a fact, because they're afraid that somebody's gonna say something about them. If you're like that in your reality, you're never gonna see the positive side, because if you don't stand up, you're never gonna create the reality of the positive, and you're becoming a puppet of the archon system. That's
Right.
what it is.
Yeah, it's all the brainwashing from Hollywood and media.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel kind of what's happening, the lockdown and the CV-19 thing. I think it's my personal opinion. It's like a blessing in disguise, because a lot of people are realizing the truth. And I mean, most people know now that media is lying and CDC is making up these numbers, and the masks don't help anybody.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I mean, it's bad in the sense people are suffering, but I don't think many people are suffering from CV-19, but mostly from the lockdown. And it's giving people a chance to wake up. So yeah.
It is, but it's, if nobody believes any of that, if you listen to Dr. Buttar, Butter, Dr.
Yeah.
AR, Dr. Buttar
Right.
is just telling you there, it's science. If you don't believe me, do the research, and it's pure science. If you put the mask, you're not really breathing the fresh air, you're
Right.
lowering the immune system. So when this time start happening, come the spring and all this stuff, or the fall, your immune system is low, so you can get sick. Was no more than a flu.
Right.
Influenza, more people died in influenza, and is less than influenza. And a lot of people, if you do the research, how do you know of the negative side? Didn't put a test in there that it's not even accurate. And why would a mayor, I'm not going to say name, would send elderly with a poor immune system into nursing homes, and most of them died?
Right.
Why would you do that
Yeah.
in a COVID-19? People
Yeah.
think, use common sense. Because I had situations that people were telling me, calling me so frustrated, and they said, oh my God, I sent that information to my mom, and it was all facts, was all, everything was documentary, and the mother, as soon as she heard it is not what she believes, wouldn't even look at it, and they start fighting with each other. How can you ignore the facts? Do not ignore the facts. Look at it so you can wake up of the big trance that you put yourself into. Guys, they're manipulating us. Wake up.
Yeah. So what can people do? I think many people are asking as well, like what are the some of the things we can do to kind of get over that brainwashing? And I know you talk about meditation in some of your videos. uh, Maybe you can give us a quick tip about meditation or prayer or something like that, you know.
We'll see, this is kind of tricky, because you can do the meditation and the prayer, but if you don't want to do the action, nothing is happening. Because I see so many people that are nice people, but in the meantime, they're ignoring the facts, they don't share, and don't stand up to make the changes. And this is the people, even when they're nice, they're going to be suffering. That's the truth. Because when you do the meditation and the prayer, because it's your quantum structure, you're going to start receiving information and situations for you to see. But even when you see it, because I see this of thousands of people that are following me, they don't take the action. I even had a person, and I'm quoting, oh my God, Marina, this is ridiculous. And I'm getting a picture of her daughter in a school system with the mask, to the point that they had to do a breathing time. It's laughable. You actually gonna have a breathing time into the school system. Are you Are you serious? Are you
Yeah.
serious? You're gonna allow this to your child to be, And I said, I just couldn't believe it, the level of ignorance. And I'm going, well, thank you for asking me. I'm not talking about specifically that woman, but in a massive scale. Why in the world are you going to send your child into a school system that is controlled by the cabal and everybody else, that they're trying to indoctrinate your kids with absolutely, if you come and core and the stuff that has nothing to do with pure history, nobody's teaching them how to. They had a transvestite classes for the kindergartners. It's insanity. What is that kid at that age understand? So you're gonna allow your child to go there and be part of the system and asking me? How about you pull your kid out of the school system, because that's what I did ahead of time years ago, and I start homeschooling my kids. But now there's so many homeschooling programs. There was a teacher that pulled away from the school system and start teaching 5 kids through the virtual reality school, not from the school system. They're private schools that you can do that online, and or you can be a mother to do that at home. If you're working, you can find somebody, pay them a little bit of money, because that person can charge you $50 a day. You pay that money anyhow to after school program. There's ways of doing it, and the only way you're going to create this reality when you take the action. You may not see it right now, but understand that is your quantum structure. So if you find what the truth is, and when you see it, don't be afraid, take an action and start looking for solutions, because when you start looking for the solutions, you start projecting this frequency into your hologram, and you're going to create reality timeline probability that all of a sudden somebody's going to come and give you the result of what you're looking for. This is how it's doing. You do it. You actually going to create a timeline that you're going to find solution, even when you're working, even when you don't have the money. Because you could be the one, for example, to watch the kids and start making money during the process. People need to open up and stop being afraid. And when you don't like it, pull your kids away from that system. Because once you do it, you're going to start creating a new reality, that new solution is going to be given. And this is how you create a 5D platform ascension protocol.
Right. Yeah, that's a good example of taking an action. I think another, probably an example would be like not wearing a mask. Like when I go out, even I see people walking in nature or running, even they're wearing a mask. So I've made it a point, unless it's somebody really asked me, like a couple of times I went to Safeway and Target, like all these grocery stores, and they ask you to wear a mask. But a couple of times I went there, nobody's asking. Like there's a guy standing there who's looking at me outside, and he didn't say, I just went in, came out without wearing a mask. It's just, we have created our own belief systems, and we believe that there's somebody looking at us, like telling us what to do. But I believe we can all do those small things, because when people see other people doing it, they're like, yeah. Some people even ask me, why you're not wearing a mask? Then I explain it to them that it's a lie, it doesn't help you, it's actually harming you. So you know
Yeah, but some people don't understand that, because through their belief system, they've been watching different type of realities, and doesn't make sense to them. They're gonna say, you're not respecting me. But logically, if you're wearing a mask, you must be protected. So why do I care? Why do you care if I wear a mask or not? So logically doesn't make sense, but they're not gonna understand that, because they're being so brainwashed. Then through medical, if you at least a little bit educated and you read medical, you will understand that there's no way a mask like this will protect you. It's laughable. It will not protect you from a virus that they claim. Then another thing, it's a common fact that if you go to the CDC, to the Red Cross and all this, right there, it's hidden, but it's there. Everything dropped to 6%. There is not pandemic anymore, but they keep running on that, because they don't want you to they want you to vote by mail, so they can manipulate the votes, and because they want to make these cities to become a control cities, so they can continue with their agenda, because the globalism wants to completely destruct the whole system of humanity, so they can implement their 2030 2020 agenda. They couldn't do 2020 agenda because Trump won. And no matter you hate the person or not, look at the facts and what he's doing. You better wake up and start doing your research. And my suggestion is, go to, if you don't know where to research, people ask me, So I spend literally half a day of collecting information from whistleblowers, doctors, lawyers, documentary. Go to my YouTube channel, The Harmonic Reactor. Scroll down and you're gonna see a big letters, Freedom Awakening. Press on that name and you're gonna see hundreds of videos that I put one after the other, that you can find the facts through documentaries, doctors, lawyers, everything you need to know to wake up so you're not manipulated any longer. But let me give you a warning. It's a bravery to face the evil, and it's a bravery to withstand it, because it's going to crumble every single belief system that you have so far. And it takes bravery to stand it and transform it. So put up your hat, and soldiers, let's go to spiritual war, because it's time in the name of humanity to take a stand for our sovereignty. It's time. Stop hiding, start sharing information and doing something for humanity. Please do that. Because I see
Right.
what's happening. Hardly anybody, people are afraid. I don't understand, but maybe because I was always brave, this was always like this with me. But to give an excuse is no longer right when you
Yeah.
see humanity suffering.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, a couple of people are also asking about Council of Nine and all that stuff, but I'm not going to take that because a lot of that stuff is already on your YouTube. So I will, yeah, maybe we just try to wrap it up. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about where people can find you, and yeah, how people can connect with you.
Well, people can find me on my website, Marina Jacobi, JACOBI.com. And there you can see, you can book a session. It's actually automatic booking. You press in and you're going to see everything that is available. You can schedule yourself. And the YouTube channel is The Harmonic Reactor. All the information gets there. If you sign in onto my emailing list through my website, marinajacobi.com, sign in, and every Saturday, every Friday night, I'm going to send you a link for live webinar. I also have a live streaming with that. And I'm channeling directly from the Council of Nine, or if I have a new information, through quantum structure, everything. So it's always every Saturday and 1 p.m. Eastern Time, New York. So
And they
thank you
can
so
sign up.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, they can sign up from your website.
They can sign up from my website to my emailing list, and they always gonna receive the link to participate in a
Okay.
live webinars, and also to watch it live stream from, and they can put their questions there, and I'm channeling directly from the Council of Nine what they say.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Questions.
because that's what I was going to say. A couple of people were asking personal questions. So maybe, I don't know if you take those kind of questions, but I'm not going to take it
That's
here. But
okay.
yeah,
Whatever you choose to do.
yeah. I think, so let me see if I had, um, yeah, so people, I think I covered most of the things I was going to ask you. Let me see if there's anything else that I missed from because I'm just taking relevant questions. This is not like that channeling session that you already do every week, right? So people can
Hmm.
go in there.
But they can ask
Um,
questions if you want to take questions.
yeah, so I'll just take this one. So Melanie Jones is asking, Marina, what is my future, and is the person I've been associated with for 4+ years? Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. Person I've been associated with for 4+ years, my soulmate. Thankful and grateful for any info. Again, I think it's a little bit personal, but if you want to take that up, I mean.
Well, for her is a lot of confusion. Um, Soulmate is a little bit relevant to say when it comes to a soulmate, because in a different type of realities, in the timelines, you have a different connections with different soulmates, so you call it male or females, and in one timeline you could be a male, and in one time you're female, and they're running simultaneously. So depending on the lineage of that reality, you can choose, listen to carefully, Melanie, if you did not achieve that connection with that person, you can ask and you can choose to cover another timeline with that person. However, this is going to be decided by you, based on whatever you wish to experience, whatever he wishes to experience from another expressions, and your councils. The councils will be discussing with you in another level if you wish to continue with that person or not. So don't hold there only for one being and completely, for example, get into sadness or anything else if something didn't happen. There is a lesson that you need to learn, and even if you didn't complete it by your belief system what that should be as an outcome, you can continue and participate in another timeline of reality to continue with this being, from another perspective. So don't you worry. Yes, soulmate is basically relevant because you can have a lot of partners from a different timelines running at the same time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I also want to bring it up that you also have some ebooks on your website that people can download for free. And I think you have three, right?
I have, I think, 4, and they can donate if they wish to for my
Oh, yeah,
work.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point because I know you do the energy philanthropy. You want donations. You don't want what you're giving to be connected to the monetary thing. You want people to donate
Well,
it from
no,
heart.
you cannot separate the money. Money is part of the structure. Money is going to give you the freedom the way through donations. Right now, I'm supporting my family, but I'm not going to overtake your
Right,
consciousness to tell you what to be. When you know that
right.
I've done so much work, when you know that I'm putting everything in the line for you, what makes you not to support my work? But when you support me, that should be from your joy, from your gratitude to everything you do, and you can donate whatever you wish from your heart to my work. This way you have still exchange, but the exchange is happening through the heart, not for me grabbing something. Because I know, because of what I do right now, I can charge a couple of $100, and yet a homeless person cannot come in. But there could be people that have so much money they can donate $1,000 if they want to. Or there could be somebody, for example, I had somebody that there was no way can connect. I'm still there. But don't tell me that you cannot support a person that is giving you everything, because throughout the year you're always going to have something to donate to that person. But you have my books, everything. They taught me to give everything in the name of humanity. So you have my books, my videos. Nothing is blocked from you to see and learn. And if you decide to support me through donations, I'm greatly appreciating, because I'm supporting my family from that. Mhm.
Great. Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks, Marina, for joining. It was a pleasure talking to you. Do you have any other final words, or you want to say bye to the audience?
Well, I want to thank everybody that tuned in today for that. Thank you so much for having me. I want to tell you that humanity is moving forward. Please choose to stand up right now and be on a sovereignty mood. Do everything possible to help every single human being and take an action, and choose through facts, not through commitment to a particular party. Do it through the heart and do it in the name of humanity, because it's about the human race, not about political party.
Wow,
Okay.
nice. Nice last words. All right, thanks, Marina, and hopefully we'll get to chat with you once again.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
All
Bye,
right, take
everybody.
care.
Bye bye.